Story 1. Original post. Would I be the a-hole for exposing my girlfriend's best friend's paternity scheme? I, 26. Male, have been with my girlfriend, Becca, 25 female, for just over a year now. Becca and her best friend, Cindy, 25 female, are both also close friends with Mike, 30 male, who they met in their first year of college. Something about Mike always rubbed me the wrong way. He's polite enough, but I find he's too handsy with the girls. I brought it up to Becca, who says Mike is like a protective big brother to them. Since Mike has been Becca's friend since she was 18, her family love him and invite him to family gatherings. That's why I keep quiet, since he's clearly important to Becca. At Becca's sister Bianca's engagement party, of course Mike was there. While Becca was talking to Bianca, I went outside for some air. It was cold out, so there were only 2 people vaping. At the side of the house, I saw Mike and Cindy making out beside an in-the-ground solar light. I pulled out my phone and recorded 23 seconds of their makeout session before going back inside. On the car ride back, I told Becca that someone told me they saw Mike and Cindy kissing outside. She panicked and asked if I had told Stan what I was told. I said no, and she was relieved. I asked, "You're not surprised?" She said, "Of course not. Mike and Cindy have been off and on for years." My mind reeled since Cindy had only been with Stan for 8 months. Becca said Mike understands Cindy in a way that Stan doesn't, and that she covers for Cindy and Mike because Stan sometimes gets suspicious, which is annoying. I lost some respect for Becca then. 2 weeks later, I'm at Becca's place and Cindy calls her. She answers the call on speaker and Cindy announces that she's pregnant. Becca squeals, takes the phone off speaker and puts it to her ear. From my side, I got that Cindy was sure the baby was Mike's, but she plans to pass it off as Stan's. When Becca ended the call, I asked her why Cindy would lie to Stan about fathering a baby. Becca said that Mike makes more money than Stan. Side note, Mike owns 3 gyms and has a personal training business. Becca then says Mike wants a kid but doesn't want any responsibilities, or to deal with baby mama drama. So since Cindy and Stan will probably get married anyway, this made sense for everyone. I was horrified and told Becca that she's just as bad as Cindy for covering this up. We got into a fight, and I left. Later, Becca calls and tells me that I'm being foolish for letting other people's drama affect our relationship. I thought we shared the same values, but that she is fine with lying about paternity sets off alarm bells. I don't see a future, but don't know if breaking up over other people's drama is the right thing to do. And I feel for Stan, who doesn't deserve any of this. I feel too guilty not doing anything. So would I be the a-hole if I somehow anonymously sent the video of Mike and Cindy making out to Stan? Now for the comments. Send it. Also, I'd be suspicious of Becca. If she has no problem lying about this, who even knows what she could be doing to you? That thought has been running through my head for nearly 3 weeks. If your girlfriend covers for Cindy when she cheats, then Cindy definitely covers for your girlfriend when she cheats. Send the video to Stan and call it a night. You're doing the right thing, not the a-hole. Thanks. That seems to be the thought on here. I'm glad it's not just a thought in my head to question is Becca's been faithful, not the a-hole. Send that video to Stan as soon as possible. This isn't just drama. They're trying to trick a guy into raising someone else's kid. That's messed up. Your girlfriend being cool with this fraud shows her true colors. Run, dude. Do the right thing and let Stan know. He deserves better. You're right. I wouldn't have thought that having morals meant I'd be responsible for ending 2 relationships, though. You would not be the a-hole. However, I think the bigger issue here for you is that your girlfriend has no morals, my man. If she thinks it's acceptable behavior for her friend, she thinks it's acceptable behavior for her. Read that again. I would not trust her. At all. Cut ties from her, then meet Stan for lunch and show him the video, and explain how Cindy is trying to effectively ruin this poor dude's life with Becca's help. Stan doesn't deserve this crap. You'd be the a-hole if you kept it to yourself. Thanks. That's what I thought too. It just sucks to be with someone for over a year and learn you don't really know them. Not the a-hole. If you decide to break up, you are not breaking up because of Cindy's values, but rather what you have learned about Becca's values. And in my view, rightfully so. I could not continue with someone that provides cover for someone else's infidelity. That to me demonstrates that Becca does not have a good set of values. It also begs the question as to whether Cindy would or has covered for Becca's infidelities in the past, or maybe now. As to telling Stan, I would suggest to Stan that there be a paternity test. As to sending the video, I would be careful. Some states require single-party consent for recording. Others are more strict. Thanks. I was actually worried about the legal consequences of sending the video. You're not the a-hole. Your girlfriend has no morals. And it's apparent her friend doesn't either. If your girlfriend cheats on you, I'm sure her friend would cover it up. So it's not ending the relationship over someone else's drama. It's ending the relationship because you have morals and she doesn't. As far as the other guy, don't do it anonymously. Sit him down for coffee and suggest a paternity test. And explain why. Doing it anonymously isn't the adult way to handle that. He needs to hear it from someone he knows, not just some anonymous person. You're right. Thanks for this. You would be the a-hole if you don't tell Stan everything. My son raised 2 kids thinking they were his. When he got divorced, his ex tried to take his rights away. She didn't succeed, thankfully. Thanks. Now I've got the fear of God in me. But for real, you make a great point. Update. Yesterday, I posted about my girlfriend Becca's best friend Cindy's plan to lie to Stan, Cindy's boyfriend, about being the father of her unborn child, and about Becca's role in going along with the plan and covering for Cindy. After reading the comments, I decided that the best thing was to confront Becca and tell her that either Cindy tells Stan the truth or I will. Since today was Becca's day off work, I went to her apartment on my lunch break. Cindy was there, so I was able to tell Cindy directly. All hell broke loose. Cindy was scream-crying, and Becca was just screaming and defending her friend. They both accused me and all men of being hypocrites since we have bro codes, but we punish women for loyalty. I left mid-screams. Later at work, I was called to go down to the lobby because an irate man wants to see me. It was Mike, Cindy's off-and-on lover friend, who is the real father of her unborn child. As soon as he saw me, Mike started yelling that I was a gossipy person for meddling in other people's lives, and what him, Cindy, and Becca do is none of my business. He was escorted out and banned from the building by security. I barely got through work after that. I replayed what he said over and over. What me, Cindy, and Becca do. What? Was he sleeping with both Becca and Cindy? Separately or at the same time? Could they be some kind of throuple? I went down a rabbit hole and looked him up on social media, which wasn't hard since Becca tagged him in every pic. Turns out Mike is not 30, but 35 years old. That means he was 28 when he met Becca and Cindy at 18 years old. Could he have manipulated his way into their lives? Into their pants? Could he still be manipulating them now, years later? When I got home, I got a call from a strange number, but I didn't answer. Then that same number started sending me a bunch of texts. It was Stan saying just because I have outdated beliefs, it was no excuse to shame his pregnant girlfriend. He's talking about my outdated belief that there would be nothing special about my wedding night if I have unprotected sex before marriage, and so I always use protection. I figured Becca told Cindy, since they share everything, and for our 1-year anniversary, Becca said we should stop using condoms since she was on birth control, but I refused. Stan was texting insults non-stop, so I sent him the video of Mike and Cindy making out. He finally took a 4-minute text break before texting, "That was at Bianca's party?" Stan was there and probably remembered their outfits. I texted back, yes. Then nothing for 17 minutes before he texted thanks. 30 minutes later, Becca started blowing up my phone. I turned it off, but I can hear alerts from my Apple Watch. I'm still reeling from what Mike said and plan to confront Becca about it. In the meantime, I'm so mad I want to punch something. I'm so hurt I want to scream. I plan to take tomorrow off work to deal. Thanks to all who offered advice. If requested, I'll update when I calm down and talk to Becca tomorrow. Now for the comments. Punish women for loyalty? Cindy was not being loyal to her boyfriend. Unfortunately, in his mind, she was being loyal until he saw the proof. Also, in your comments, OP, you have talked about feeling guilty for what you are going to put Stan through. No. You are saving that man from so much obvious pain and bullcrap. He will be grateful to you for letting him know what is being done to him, even if the kid turns out to be his. Why are you still dating her? Break it off. This. Leave these trashy people to deal with their problems together. OP has the chance to completely dump all of them at once and not deal with any stress of their mess. OP, just make sure to take some extra safety precautions until things cool off since they seem like the type of people to be instigators, like Mike. Don't bother confronting Becca. Just tell her you're done. She already revealed her character. She was eager to help her friend to pass off some 35-year-old predator's child as her boyfriend's. Becca was about to do the same with you. That is why she wanted to have protected sex with you. That is bottom of the barrel poor character. And you must get that kind of filth out of your life immediately. Not the a-hole. Oh, and consider a restraining order on Mike. He is a predator and he is angry at you. He already made a scene. I would not out-violence past him. Just go no contact. I know that's easier said than done, but dude, this entire group you're dealing with is completely unhinged. They have no issue messing with you at work. No issue completely lying to people about what's going on. They're a disaster. And every minute you spent willingly engaging with them is just another chance for them to find a way to make life harder for you. It sucks, but at this point, nothing you can do will make it better in Becca's eyes. She hasn't earned an in-person breakup. Make the quickest escape you can. These people are bat crap crazy. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for protecting my sister-in-law who cheated on my brother? 2 years ago, our family was caught in a huge drama. My sister-in-law had a month-long affair with someone from her night courses. At that time, my brother was absolutely destroyed, and he wanted to divorce her. It was hell for almost 3 months, but he ultimately decided to stay married to her and work through it in counseling. I wasn't a fan of that idea, but it's his life. I think he stayed mostly for their kid, but I honestly think it's been terrible for him. Since then, everything has been miserable. My parents openly hate her now. She has stopped coming to family meetings because it's outright hostile to her. Their kid still comes around, but my mother often badmouths her in front of him. He's only 3, and it's confusing for him. My brother and I went on a road trip recently to pick up our grandmother and bring her to my parents' house for the holidays. It was 4 hours there and 4 hours back. During the drive, he started talking about the rules they have in their marriage now. Here's what he told me. Sister-in-law has to come straight home after work. She can only go out if he's with her. He inspects her phone every few days and can do surprise checks. She had to cut off all her friends and can only have new ones if he approves them. She has tracking apps on her phone and AirTags on her car, purse, and even in her running shoes. She does all the housework. Meanwhile, he has given himself a free pass to sleep with other people. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I told him it sounded like he was punishing her, not rebuilding their marriage. He shrugged it off and said she deserved it for what she did. I asked him if he even loved her anymore, or if he hated her. Because from what he was describing, it sounded like he stayed married just to make her life miserable. He got defensive and told me I didn't understand what it was like to be cheated on. But I do. I've been cheated on, and it was devastating. I separated, and now I'm happy because I didn't want to live in misery with someone I couldn't trust. I told him he wasn't just making her miserable, he was making himself miserable too. He's poisoning everything for both of them, and their child will be stuck in the middle. I asked him if he would prefer to separate, co-parent, and move on to find someone he could actually trust. I said it would be better than living in this constant resentment. He didn't want to hear it and said I should mind my business. When we got to my parents' house, I asked to speak with my sister-in-law privately. I wanted to see if she was okay because this sounded awful. She broke down crying and admitted she feels trapped but is staying for their son. She begged me not to tell anyone, so I promised I wouldn't. Later, my brother found out we had talked, and he got furious. He accused me of protecting her and interfering in his marriage. My parents agreed with him and said I should have stayed out of it. They think she deserves everything she's getting for what she did. I feel like this is so toxic for everyone involved. No one deserves to live like this, not even someone who made a bad choice decision. Their son is growing up in the middle of this disaster. I just don't see how this is good for anyone. Am I in the wrong for saying something? Should I have stayed out of it? Now for the comments. Both are idiots. She could also ask for divorce and move on. This way, all the lil son learns is what mistrust, resentment, hate in a relationship means. And you are right, he is also punishing himself. He'd rather live in hate than moving on and find peace and happiness. And his hate will follow their son life. We all know that parents are the main cause of all the trauma in the adult life. Everyone who goes to therapy figures out that their issues lie mostly in their childhood. And your parents also add to the boy's conflicted view of women. How will the boy respect women when all he sees is they deserve to be punished? And even when you don't fight in front of the kids, enough studies showed that kids can feel the thick air. He is destroying his son by staying in this environment, but yeah, let's live in the illusion that living with a person you hate is better for the child than living in peaceful households. Agreed here, they're both the a-holes, not OP. That's grossly toxic behavior, and it's going to F up the archetype of a healthy relationship for their kid. Yeah, she definitely could, but she is also a coward, or else she would not have cheated. However, I do not know how safe my brother is at the moment. It would not surprise me if he had held something over her head, like child custody or something like that. She would not say more, but hinted strongly at that. But I don't think I can quite believe either of them. They should just end things. Yeah, his staying to abuse her. Cheating is an arsehole move, but you have to either move on from or separate. Some people might offer a hall pass, but sounds more like he just has a half-open relationship, where he tracks her every move and she has to do everything at home, while he shags away and lets his family slag her off to her and their child. So not only abusing her, but also affecting his child mentally, having to listen to all that. Your sister-in-law is an idiot for cheating. Your brother's an a-hole for choosing to stay and abuse her rather than leave. She's being kept as a cleaner and bang maid and childcare, while he does whatever he wants so he can play dutiful family man, rather than actually have to parent alone and clean up after himself. Not the a-hole. Has your brother always been abusive to her, or is this a new thing? Your brother is behaving terribly and his justification is bullcrap. He now seems to have an indentured servant and he can cheat on her whenever he likes. You know, that thing that was so terrible that he imposed all these rules on her. Tell your parents all the rules he now has for his wife. If they still think you're the bad guy, I hate to say it, but maybe your parents are also not great people. I feel bad for your sister-in-law, and I would help her to leave the marriage. Agreed. My first thought was if he was abusing her the whole time because he seems to not have any issues with treating her the way he does now. Two wrongs don't make a right. Okay, your brother has become a full-blown abuser at this point, which is actually worse than cheating. She cheated. That was the point where she should have been kicked out of the marriage and contacted solely for co-parenting purposes, while your brother worked on healing and moving on in a healthy way. What he's doing is trapping them all, especially the child, in an abusive cycle of hate, vindictiveness, and dysfunction. That is going to mess with the child's ability to understand normal relationships and normal boundaries. The punishment for cheating is divorce. What your brother is doing is not punishment, it's torture. It's like someone said to him there's nothing worse than cheating, and his response was to test that theory. Worse, the grandparents are enabling their son's abuse. No adult wins this race to the bottom here, but they are all guaranteeing that the child is the one who will lose the most, including their entire future if they get screwed up enough. Not the a-hole, but you need to reframe this. It's the child that needs to be protected the most. If that means helping sister-in-law to get out of this situation, then so be it. Right now, your brother and parents are actively dangerous to the child's well-being.
Thank you for listening. If you like the video, consider like and subscribe. If you want more stories like these, turn on your notification to receive the latest stories.